Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. So today I thought I would do a little potting up of these plant pots that I have that I took the banana plant out of to put in the ground because the trunks were getting like massive, like this big, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to get them out by the end of the season. So today I'm going to show you a cool plant combination that I'm going to use based on some plants that I got on clearance. If you're enjoying today's video and any other videos, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up and like this video, and even hit that notification bell to get notified anytime a new video comes out. Okay, let's dig in. So let's take a look first at the plants that I have. So you may recall I had one of these before, and I'm going to come up closer so you can see the tag. This is a Broad Street Broadway coleus, and it's very well variegated, and I'm loving that. So that will be going right about here. And then I also have my hot pink geraniums, and these are just the medium hot pink. These are from Monrovia. I've had these in some pots on my deck, but I'm going to use them in this planter now. And then I have two of these Monrovia, what are they called? Let's find one with a tag. Super Cal Light Yellow Petochoa. So petochoa, which I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing correctly, is kind of like that mix between the calibrachoa and the petunias, I believe. And so it has a very nice petunia-like shape, but I think it also does really well in warmer weather and not so wilty. And this is going to be in full sun pretty much all day. Alright, so I'm going to unpot these, check out their roots, and place them in the container. And I'm going to do two matching containers, and then I'm going to put them side by side on either side of Mr. Turtle Boy, who is our little boy who is holding a turtle that would be a fountain if we used it as a fountain, but we do not. We just use him as a cute little statue. So I'm going to keep this one up front. And then I'm going to put both of these petochoas on either side of it to spill over each side. Now you can see this is very root bound, the circling of the roots at the bottom. And the best method to deal with this is just to pull the bottoms right off. That way you have plenty of roots to be able to dig in. And right now I'm just setting them where I think I want them, and then we're going to fill behind with some potting mix. And today's potting mix that I'm going to be using is a Miracle-Gro moisture control potting mix. I've used this before. Usually I tend to use this in a window box, and the reason for that is because it definitely tends to keep plants a little bit more on the moist side. So if you have plants that don't like water, I highly recommend against this. But these plants are going to be getting full sun the majority of the day, and they're across the pool, so I have to drag the hose over here anytime I want to water them. So what do you think? How does that look? Let's get it filled in with some soil. I should tell you, all of these plants are annuals, so none of them will be hardy in my zone. I garden in Michigan in a zone 5B, and so in 5B things are hardy down to about a -20, which means I can grow quite a few things, but many things are still annuals here. when you're planting pots and you're getting things in, you definitely want to leave a bit of a lip just so that you can get some water in there so that it can soak in and not pour over the sides. And also you want to make sure you get this soil all around the roots. So you don't want any gaps. You do also want to press down firmly, but not squishing. It's a bit of a difficult sensation to describe, but once you feel the soil beneath your fingers as nice and firm, you want to stop backfilling. Some soil will settle a little bit with your first watering, so you do want to fill maybe about 1/4 of an inch higher than you think you're going to need to. That's my recommendation. Other people may do it differently, and I'm definitely not telling you how you need to do it. There's lots of different methods for doing the same thing and still having successful results. So if you're doing something and it's worked for you for years, no need to switch it up, right? Just keep doing it. Okay, I think that looks good, so I'm going to do the other one and then we'll show you what that looks like. So come on, let's start that. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm planting the same things in both pots so they look fairly symmetrical. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not into perfection. If I was, I probably wouldn't be a gardener because whew, that would be very difficult. Now in this particular pot with this geranium, I have some petunias that I sowed from seed, so I'm not going to put that into the big pot. I'll just do something else with that one later. So we'll separate the two. Okay, that came apart actually easier than I thought it was going to. I'm going to tease the roots on this one as well. This one's not so bad, but there's a little bit on the sides. As you can see here, just need to be pulled apart to get them growing again in the right direction. Now this container is going to be in the warm sun. A lot of people's containers will be. So it's important when you have a full sun container to make sure that you have about 1 inch of soil between the plants and the container, because if you don't leave that space, you risk burning the roots of the plant and having some troubles with them. So just make sure that you don't plant them right up against the wall. This is especially important with things that have very thin walls, like galvanized containers, because they get really hot. another tip to think about when you're doing sun planters with watering. Make sure that you keep them slightly moist. And I don't mean wet, sapping wet, but make sure that the soil doesn't dry out so much that it becomes hydrophobic. And what I mean by that is a fear of water. So basically, once the soil dries out too much, it literally will try not to absorb any water, and it will take a while to again begin soaking the water in. So you want to try to maintain a fairly decent watering schedule, get to know what your plants like, and try to stick with that as much as possible. You'll find that when it rains, you won't have to water as much. But if you have a lot of sunny days in a row where it's super dry, and we have had that here, you're definitely going to need to get out the watering can or the hose. And you're going to want to soak your containers until it literally is dripping out the bottom. So even with a container like these, which when you see them from top to bottom, you'll see they're probably 2.5 feet tall maybe. And even these need to be soaked all the way through until I see some coming out the bottom. Then they have plenty of time to soak up that water. And usually with larger pots like these that are ceramic, I can get away with a few days without having to water. And it may even be a little bit longer than that with the moisture control potting mix. Now I'm not adding any type of fertilizer in here because this soil already has fertilizer built into it, so there's really no need. Some people like to add slow release fertilizer. If I find after they've been in this pot for a while that they're looking a little leggy, I may cut them back. If I think they look like they need some fertilizer to push out some new blooms, I will simply use some fast-acting fertilizer, which is water soluble. You can get like all sorts of different kinds. You just put it in your hose, or you can put it in your watering can and mix it up, and it works really well. Most plants don't need as much fertilizer as the fertilizer industry would like you to believe. Okay, well, I've got both of these planted up. I'm going to clean up just a little bit, and then I'll show you these from the front. All right, well, friends, I think that these turned out absolutely awesome. They're exactly what I wanted. Some pops of color there on either side of Turtle Boy. And right behind Turtle Boy, kind of making him look like he has a very bushy hairdo, is the dinosaur kale that is surrounding a blueberry bush. So here I have some edible landscaping mixed in with some floral landscaping, and I think it just is a really cool combination. So if you're bored with some of the same old in your yard, think about incorporating some veggies. These dinosaur kale have those waxy blue leaves that oftentimes you can get on hostas in the shade, but it's really hard to find a plant that will do well in full sun that can give you that look, and dinosaur kale is one of those. So think about that. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video and got a little bit of ideas and inspiration, and get out in your garden. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.